Welcome back to Color and Cut Education. My name is Sebastian. Okay, so this round, right, we are doing hair cutting. Today we are trying to achieve a layered haircut. What is a layered haircut? Layered haircut is actually a 19-degree haircut. So the previous videos we actually accomplished blunt cut, which is a 0 degree, low graduation, lesser than 45, high graduation, more than 45, and today we are going to achieve 90 degree. Okay, so 90 degree, there are certain shapes that we need to know, but today I'm going to cut is a round shape. So round shape is a very classic haircut. Everywhere there are people, there are stylists, there are different hair cutters that are trying to achieve round layered. Different methods. Okay, I will go as close as to the Sassoon way, okay, because eventually I graduate from there. Their way still today is considered as very close to the round shape. Today we are going to achieve that way. Same thing I'm going to segment later on this mannequin. Wet hair, I'm going to segment few places that you need to observe. Most importantly, observe the hair sections that I'm going to do it later. Okay, because certain area of the hair, okay, might cut shorter or might live longer, or you didn't cut at all. So we are trying to achieve as easy as possible to the beginner's level and to cut the Sassoon way. Let's proceed to the hair section. I have wet the hair, so as you can see, the round section today I'm going to do is actually 4 sections is what we do in the salon. Okay, but today we are going to do some observation. Okay, because round layered is like a visualment of a ball or a cake or a pizza. Okay, so we take pizza for example. Pizza, if you want to share all equally to people to eat, do we need to do first we need to do a 4 section, right? After that, within the 4 section, you want to slice. How thin the slices is you slice it at your own way. Okay, usually we do that slices is like a cutting section on the hair. Okay, when we do a round layered haircut on the head itself, we usually do on top of here, but by doing on top of here, it is not easy for a beginner. Alright, because from here, when we cut to the front, when we do it everything down, pivoting from the head, so using that way, you need a lot of control. Okay, you need to control the hair with even tension, stability, and your sectioning. Okay, it is not easy to achieve that. I would do it this way. Okay, why this way? Because this way, right, when we do to achieve round, you just have to go around the head. That means when we want to do it this way, okay, when I cut this side first, I will just go it this way. You know, you just have to go around the head to cut the 90 degree. Okay, same as here. No, I will just go around the head to do a 90 degree. But if you were to do on the head, it is not just going around the head. You still have to go around the head. You have to go like this, you know, and the stability of the hand movement, everything. It is a lot of things that you need to consider cutting on top of here. So it is not easy to achieve a very round and it's a layered form in this haircut. When we do at the bottom here, okay, why I would say that the bottom here is easy to achieve is because the head itself. Okay, funny thing is that head, the bottom here is not like the top here. It's going like that, okay, around like a semicircle. But here is just a flat surface here. Okay, although that some people, the so-called the occipital bone here may be very high, may be very bulging, but it's not to all human beings. Okay, when we cut Asian hair, some here are flat, okay, some are not. So I will still consider it's here, still the easiest way. Okay, so how to cut the round layer at the back here? We're going to do it here first. So how do we do it here? All right, this corner here, okay, how do we hold our hand? We have to hold it like that. Isn't this way like a high graduation? Similar, but the angle is different. Why? Because 90 degrees is straight like that, okay, out from the pivoting of the head. Okay, now this is for here, but you might think that the head here, the so-called the nape area, is not really straight, right? It's slant because it went inside, okay, like a concave. Okay, so when it cave inside, the hand should be like that because perpendicular out of the flat surface is a 90, so it goes like that. So that means here the bottom is a slant. Well, you don't see the top here, it's a slant like that. Okay, 90. Then when you come to the top here, you have to, the comb or your finger have to tilt. Okay, then it will be a 90. Then slowly go to the top, then you will start to tilt. Then it will be round at the edges. Okay, so we want to cut the bottom here first because this is the easiest to achieve as a beginner. Okay, so let's section. I've sectioned the hair. You can see that, you might see that, oh, why are you using so much clips? Because the hair is short down here. Previously we did a concave, right? So here will be very short, so I need to use more clips to secure all my hair. You can see that it's horizontal, so we are using the first one here to create a guideline. Now, are we going to cut any 0 degree? No, we are not cutting it, because once we cut a 0 degree or a line, the edges here, okay, the outline here will be very solid. I do not want that, so I want it to be soft. So from here, okay, perpendicular. So if down here is like that, okay, we have to perpendicular out. Okay, I'm going to cut so much. Just like that. Then like this, did you cut the bottom? No, we don't really cut the bottom. Because once we use the bottom too much, the top here, we're going to be very short. So, same thing, need you to move around the head, but due to the camera reason, I'm just going to shift the mannequin. You have to be careful with your fingers because this area very easy to cut your hand. Okay, so once we achieve like that, okay, we have to cross check, right? So how we cross check? Previously we talked about cross check means opposite the direction of the section that you cut. So what is the short name of it? SSD, right? That means what? Same direction, same angle, different section. All right, so we're using the SSD format to cut the hair. So SSD format, you see, you can see over here, the hair is very soft. Why? Because down here, the weight has been cut off. All right, so it is, that's why it's very soft. And when it's layer, one thing good about layer is that you can able to put the hair where you want it. So if I want to put it here, you know, some people style it that way, I also can, because it's soft enough to move it to your liking. All right, so down here, how I check? Same thing, horizontal section, because this vertical section is how we cut. So all this, we are going to cut it off. 90 degree, huh? Don't ever cut the hair too square. What you mean by cut too square? That means sometimes when we use our finger to cut, all right, eventually we'll just cut it straight, right? No, round layer, try don't cut it straight. Try to curve. That means when I cut it, I don't cut it straight like that. That means I have to try to curve. so that when we see it's round, because round layered, you must visualize as it's like a ball. Okay, once you cut straight here, this area, when you cut straight like this, when you take the other section and you cut straight, what happened? There is a triangular corner. So when there is a triangular corner, means there is certain weights inside the hair. That means the hair is not round, the hair is not perfect, the hair consists of weight. Maybe, you know, when the person style the hair or when you style the hair, it's not up to that place. Okay, so I'm going to cut that side. So when I check, I have to check both sides. Okay, is it equal? Not equal, you have to cut it off. So as usual, ½ inch and below, you can trim it on cross check itself. If you are more than 1 inch, you have to go back to your cutting section to check. Alright, if not, then it's still okay. You can just leave it. Just have to make sure both sides is equal before we go to the top. Now it's layered, it's easier to see the steps than graduation. Yes, it is, because it's 90, the steps are everywhere. Okay, so down here we have cut the hair. It's very soft, you can touch it. If you do it on your mannequin or you do it on your live model, you can touch it. It is very soft. Okay, easier to, you see, you can stand by itself because the weight is been taken off. Section this part, right? I have to sit on a higher chair. That means if you can shift your chair up and down, you have to shift the hair a bit higher so that you can cut the hair at this angle. If you are too low, it's easy for you to cut the graduation. So best is chest level with the back of the head. Okay, don't be too low, because once too low, your angle will be lower. Same thing, I'm going to cut. So when I cut, what do I see? You see here, it's my guideline. So when I cut this guideline, same thing, perpendicular out from the head itself. Now, who will cut this kind of hair? Okay, ladies will cut this kind of hair? Yes, when I was in London, there are ladies cutting this kind of hair, but you seldom can see in Singapore that you can find this kind of ladies. Okay, usually happen to do it on men's hair more often. Alright, so now I cutting the hair. You can see that I will just bring out and I will just cut it off. Now don't be afraid. If there's a lot of things to cut, it's normal because the hair is long. So sure have things for you to cut. The top, even more things to cut, because you see, this is that short. So the top, yeah, there's more. Okay, until here I don't cut first. Why? We have to make sure this is round. Okay, round, then continue to round. If here you are not round and you continue to cut over here, eventually the whole haircut will not be round. Okay, so that is the crucial part of this haircut. Same thing, check first. You have to check. Now, some of us, we don't like to check. I understand. It takes a lot of time. But checking makes you lesser mistake for later on. Okay, here I cut, so I cut this side. So now we have to check the hair to see whether is it round before we continue. Checking at the same direction, same angle, to make sure that all is equal, so that you don't, have too much difference. Because layered, right, when you dry the hair, actually there's even more things for you to cut. Right, so you have to be very careful during your cross checking and your hair cutting. Okay, try to cut a smaller section. If you're not sure, cut smaller section. If you are a pro, you can cut more, you can take more section, it's okay. Okay, so once it's done, you can see it's flat. All right, there's no more volume because you have cut away the volume. All right, so we have to cut this side here. So cut this side here, she have to face you. Same thing, be using this to cut. Now here, it's a slightly different from the back because the back is actually rounder. Okay, here is actually flatter. Then you come to the side bend here, then you will start to turn in. So this part here, you don't need to just have to stand to the side to cut, no need, you just can be straight. Okay, then when you come to this part here, then slightly you have to turn in. That means you have to move yourself. So same thing, guideline. Now be careful, come to here, you just have to be careful. Okay, come to here, stop, check first before you continue. So this haircut, there's a lot of checking. If you are a pro, you can skip this step. If you are not, please check first. So what we need to see now? Come to see what we found something over here. Because like just now how I said, when you draw a round shape, okay, you will draw a 1/4 shape. If you are a beginner, you draw a 1/4 shape. Stop there. Maybe you will tilt the paper, or maybe you will tilt yourself. Then you will start to draw again. So each time when you draw and stop, and you draw and you stop, there is certain point that there is an angle. So this angle is what we're going to find. Is this angle here. You see? So this angle what happened? Wow, so much. Then how am I cutting out it? I'm not going to check and cut, so I'm going to find out why is it longer. Once I find it, I can cut it off. Now, is it common to see it long? Yes, because of the hairline is going like that, because there's a ear. So it's very common. So we have to find it and cut it. Until here, I might stop a bit. I might want to check again. Why is it longer? Okay, so 1/2 inch, I can just cut it off. Okay, now one thing you need to check, you need to know is that when you cut the hair and check, you must lift up the hairline and see. When you check this area, you have to make sure that you are taking the same area like that. Never ever go down. If you want to go down, you make sure that it's 90. Yeah, that means I have to make sure when I pull out, it's going to be at a 90. Okay, high enough, then I can trim. If not, don't trim. Okay, if not sure, then don't trim. Okay, you can use the thinning scissors later to trim out at your last stage of blow drying. So once it's done, here you check here again. Is it the same? If it's not the same, trim it off. Okay, so once it's done, it's going to be like that when it's short. Why is it like that? Because of the hairline. It goes with the hairline. If you were to cut straight, then it would be like that. Then here you didn't cut the layer. It's nothing for you to cut. So we're going to cut this part here. So how we cut? That means this part here, the flat surface perpendicular where it's supposed to be like that. So I'm supposed to be holding like that to cut. Alright. So when I cut, I myself have to shift my body and I have to stand, okay, and I have to cut. It'll be getting shorter. If you are afraid, then you can make it longer by bringing it to the back. Okay, so we check, and I check. So you see, there's a corner. So I have to cut it off. So how I check this part? Same thing. When you check this part, you have to align. Try not to take the bottom. Align it, and I bring it out, and I snip the corner off. Okay, it's going to be like that. So this part area is the crucial part, easiest to make mistake. It's very, very easy to make mistake. So you make sure that, you know, you have to consider this, you have to consider this, you have to consider the back. Okay, it's because there are 3 steps, 3 main things over here as around the ear. Okay, so we are going to cut the other side. Okay, we have to let go one first. Okay, don't let go all. So we cut 1/4. So when we cut the 1/4 here, okay, I have to shift myself because I'm a right-hander, so I will stay here. I will stand over here. After shifting the head here and there, so I have the result that I have to stand here to cut the hair. Because I'm a right-hander, it's easier for me to control. So when I cut the hair, down here is my center point of my pizza. Okay, pizza center point. So pizza center point is here. Then we have to goes like that. You see how the comb turn? So everything is on the center of the head here. So here, I'm going to turn like that. So when I section, it's like this, then like this, then like this, then like this. So I have to cut here. I have to move to here to cut. So I myself have to move the haircut. Alright, so okay, same thing. Why must I take so thin? Because I scared I cannot see. So when I cut, okay, although it's straight, but I will not try to cut straight. I will slightly, my finger slightly pointing towards like a 45, but it's not lah. Okay, because once if you turn it too straight up, the top will be very, very short. Okay, you have to be careful. Okay, not every clients can accept their shortness. Although that we hairdresser, we like to cut short the hair, but try to control. So take the hair and just cut. Okay, so check. We don't need to check. We can just finish this side first, then we check. Okay, would it make mistake? Yes, but I rather I make some mistake, try to leave it longer, and not just check and you might cut it shorter. Why check will cut it shorter? Because you do not know how big the area is, and if you accidentally cut during your checking time, you might accidentally cut it too short. Okay, and just bring it up and cut. Okay, so how I check the hair? I will check it like that. That means same thing SSD, right? Same direction, same angle, different section. So how I cut is like that. How I check is like that. I have to check this part first. Okay, but how do I stand at the back, or do I stand slightly to the front? Yeah, slightly to the front, because the front will eventually bring it up higher to cut. Okay, same as here. Same thing, you're cutting round, so you should be looking at the line that is a bit slightly round, not straight. Okay, once it's done, check through your vertical section again to see whether you have cut too much. If you have cut too much, this is the side one, so I'm not going to hold it. If you're taking too much to cut on the slight angle, cut it off. Minimize the weight. Okay, then once it's done, this side, don't cut the front first, because the back is easier for you to check that way, because once you cut here, this is actually, this shape is good for you to cross check later on. Alright, so I would turn the head to this side. So now I'm going to cross check the hair, same thing, I will stand slightly to the front a bit. We'll just take it up and check. Okay, so once done, check again here to see there's either corner. So when we cut to the front, take this side, this area here. Okay, as a guide for us to cut. So how? Same thing, I will just come to you and we just cut it. Okay, so we're going to wet the hair. Okay, so same thing. So the guideline is where? The guideline is actually this part and the bottom here. So you have to use your fingers to align it first before you cut the hair. Same thing, we are going to cut it like this to like this. So from the back, you slowly cut towards to the front. It's very, very crucial over here. You have to comb properly first to cut or wet the hair. It's easier to control that way. Now coming to the front, the fringe area, make sure don't take too much. Okay, if you take too much, you will cut too short. Okay, make sure you can see the guideline before you cut the hair. If not, you might accidentally cut too short. Okay, so I have cut the hair and we check. So how we check? Oh, this time around we don't stand at the front, we stand at the back. So we stand at the back here. We check it. We have to take some from the back to check. Make sure it's 90. Same direction. And it's a different section. Huh? Remember, by your cross check, don't trim too much. Okay. So once our cross check is done, just make sure that everything is okay, and I check it vertically. Minimize as much corner as possible. Not sure? Don't cut. Sometimes same area I might comb 2-3 times just to make sure that what I take is correct. Okay, so once it's done, I can comb to that side to cut. As you can see over here, right, how are you going to cut this side? Should I cut to the front first or should I cut to the back first? You beginners, cut from the back first, then cut to the side. Okay, because if you were to cut this side first, then you come to the back. Because of the guideline, you don't have the bottom, you only have the top. It's easy for you to cut short over here. Why? Because of the finger placement. Okay, that's why we don't cut here, we cut this side. You want to cut this side, can your control, your stability must be there. Okay, so today we are going to go to the entry level, which is beginner. So we are trying to achieve safety, no mistakes. So we're going to cut this side first. So how I cut? Okay, so it's difficult for me to cut at the front. So we have to shift the head a bit. We have to cut this side. So I have to position myself at the back. Because as I'm a right-hander, you stand at the left side, it's impossible for you to stand in front of the client. But of course, if it's your friend, you can stand anywhere you like. So once I cut finish, we have to do the cross check. So we just have to make sure that it's all equal, okay, before we blow dry the hair. It's very, very important. Now before we blow dry the hair, we must make sure that the checking is precise, okay, before we do anything. Too long, too short, make sure everything is done during the wet hair. If not, you might get yourself into trouble when you dry the hair. Some of us will recut the hair or try to hide, or we try to thin the hair as much as possible. These are the things that we try not to do in front of the customer. Okay, make sure everything is well cut, because once you're able to achieve like that, then when you blow dry, then the mistakes would not be so visible, but you still have to check it. Okay, if you are those perfectionists, then you can do slowly. If you are not, you are those fast cutters, then make sure that you cut precisely, then the back. behind, then you don't need to trim that much. Okay, so I'm done. So I'm going to check my fringe. Is there anything for me to trim? Don't take it too much. So you see how I try to tilt the hair here and there. Try to take as much corners as possible. Okay, no matter how much I take off, I still have to check this side, okay, of corners. Okay, so I'm done. I'm going to blow dry the hair. Alright. Okay, so I have dried the hair. I'm now going to trim it. So what are we finding? We are not finding anything. Okay, what you think that it's not eye-catching or what, then try and don't cut it. You see down here there's a point, so I try to cut it. Trimming or not trimming need to be done. It's up to you, because if you are doing trimming, then your haircut will be more precise. If you do not do trimming, then the more weight you have over there, you can try to use thinning scissors. It might soften the edges and it give you a different feel. Okay, so it is not a must to trim. But why do I trim? Because most of my haircuts, I try to be as precise as I can. Okay, so we try to snip up any weight that you see. Sometimes when you have a lot of experience, you might know where is heavier by touching. Okay, if there is nothing for you to cut, then don't find things to cut. Okay, how do I check? I check through my cross check, or I check through my cutting section. I bring out and see, is there any corners? If there's corners, then I try to minimize the corners. Okay, is it possible to take out all the corners? That is impossible, because your fingers are not born to be round or straight. So we only can try to trim as much as possible. Okay, so we check through the lines, everything, the contour of the lines. If you are done, then basically we can refresh. Okay, so let's refresh. Let's refresh the haircut. So how do we cut the haircut just now is that the top head is being sectioned to 4 parts, left only the sideburns and a bit of hair, the fringe area to the nape area. So this one we leave out so that we can cut the hair easier, because it's quite difficult if you start from the top. Okay, so from the back nape area we will bring out vertical, perpendicular to the head, and cut a 90 degree. Following the head shape, cross check, let go the top, the occipital bone area. Again, we cut one side first, then we cut the other side, cross check. Then after that, come to the side. The side, when we cut, we need to be, so you need to be more aware at the side area, because the side and the temple area is going to round. So only the side here is flat, so when you cut, you just have to bring out. So when you come to the temple area, you just have to round it off at the temple area so that you will not cut too short. If you want to be more careful, you have to direct the head to the back a bit, slightly to the back, so that you will leave some length at the front. After that, you will come back to the different segment of the sections. Okay, we always start with a quarter, cut finish using a pizza section. When we cut finish, cross check. Okay, opposite direction. You stare at the opposite direction to cross check. Then after that, you cut the other quarter. It must be the same area, means the back one side, back the other side, front one side, front the other side. Okay, so the back one side, cut finish, cross check, cut the leftover what is remaining a quarter, cut finish, check, then you come to the front. Okay, the front, you must always remember, when you come to the front, you must always start from the ear level there and not start from the front here, because when you start from here, you will accidentally cut too short at the fringe area, because there is no guideline for you at the bottom. So you have to cut from here. Here there is a guideline, the side here there's a guideline, the top there's a guideline, so it's easier for you to manage. So once you cut finish, before you blow dry, cross check. Okay already, then you blow dry. After you blow dry, then you cross check again, can't see any visible weight, and you trim it off. Okay, so it might be different from the Sassoon way of classic round layer, because that is the pro level. So we want to go as beginner as possible. So I would choose from the bottom, then to the side, then to the top. It's easier to manage that way. Okay, so I hope you like my tips and tricks in the video, and I really hope you enjoy the haircut. I would see you in my next video.